In 2 days from now, President-elect Bola Tinubu will take the oath of office as the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is the 7th inauguration in Nigeria's 4th republic. We are counting down to the handover. You can share your thoughts now on Twitter using the hashtag countdown to May 29. Remember to mention at TVC News NG. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am Abosede Adeniro Aderemi. Well, let's quickly tell you about the events lined up for the inauguration. We've had the Jumat prayers earlier today and the public lecture. But then tomorrow, May 27th, an inauguration lecture would be delivered by the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. The lecture is titled Deepening Democracy for Integration and Development. There is also a Children's Day program on the same day that will include a parade and children's party. On May the 28th, that is Sunday, an interdenomination church service will hold at the National Christian Center, Abuja. That will be followed by an inauguration dinner and gala night at the State House Conference Center. That will be at 7 p.m. On the 29th of May, which is the D-Day, it would feature inauguration parade and swearing in at the Eagle Square at 10 a.m. And guests are expected to be seated by 8:30. A post-inauguration luncheon is scheduled for 1:30 p.m. same day at the State House Banquet Hall. And it's strictly for Mr. President, with Brother President, Head of Government, and his invited guests. Let's talk more about the inauguration ceremony, this 7th in the 4th Republic. And joining me is a member of the House of Representatives and a really close ally of the President-elect, James Faleke. Thank you for joining us on the program. Let's begin by getting a reaction to the court judgment today that dismissed the suit filed by the PDP on the candidacy of President-elect and his vice.
Well, thank you. The judgment that was delivered today by the Supreme Court is a welcome development and sets the ground for peaceful reconciliation amongst the other parties. Now that they have suffered this setback, I'm sure they will look inward and know that even the ones at the tribunal will surely die the same way. So it's a welcome development.
And in a few days from now, the man Bola Tinubu will be sworn in as president. How soon do you expect him to form his cabinet?
Well, first, let's give thanks to God for giving us this victory and giving Nigerians this victory. And of course, we appreciate Nigerians for coming out to vote for him despite all the inconveniences. For me, how soon he will form the cabinet depends on him. We cannot determine, but the law is clear, very clear. Within 60 days of assumption of office, he must form his cabinet, unlike before when we had no law. Now we have the law signed by the outgoing president. From May 29, you start to count 60 days. So he will form his cabinet before then. All
right. And how do you see his ability to further unite the country at this particular time, especially? I'm talking about how you see him uniting the country after the drama that characterized the elections in February and March.
Well, I think I mean, I don't understand what you mean by drama, but the election came and we won based on capacity, based on the fact that Nigerians believed in us. It's clear that we won the elections, despite that we even lost key states. The numbers matters, and as far as we are concerned, Nigerians have voted APC, and in the reconciliation process, peace process, you saw that the president-elect has started with proposal, and we are discussing with others. I think that it is time for all Nigerians to come together and forget elections and look ahead to bringing Nigeria back to record.
The manifesto of the APC, the Renewed Hope Manifesto, is loaded with huge promises for Nigerians about a better tomorrow. How confident are you that the president-elect will deliver on these lofty promises?
Well, let me say that personally, as James Abiodun Faleke, I was part of those who started this project earlier than any other person. I was part of those who believed strongly that only Bola Ahmed Tinubu could come in at this time to solve our critical problems. And so we started very early, and even when nobody believed that it was doable. So I'm so confident that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will, by the grace of God, he will solve the majority of our crises and bring us back to a progressive level that all Nigerians will be happy with. Yes, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be ups and downs, and because the economic situation in Nigeria now, or the same thing across the world, is bad. But I'm sure that when he put up his thinking cap, a lot of things will change for the better.
Out of the different issues, which do you consider priority that the president-elect should focus on?
I think priority areas will be our revenue. Our revenue is very poor compared to our expenditures. Of course, we might talk about subsidy and power.
Honorable James Faleke, a former secretary of the Presidential Campaign Council. All right, you may kindly go ahead, Mr. Faleke. All right, we'll reconnect with Honorable James Abiodun Faleke for more on the plans for the new administration and especially the expectations for the incoming president, Bola Tinubu. All right, Mr. Faleke, you were talking about the priority areas. You mentioned economy. Please go ahead with that.
That was how soon was it? Can you come back again on your question?
Yes, I'm asking that you continue where you stopped. You were talking about the economy, about power, and of course, please go ahead with that. Land on your thoughts. All right.
This incoming government will be first tackle the issue of revenue, stop this humongous leakage of oil subsidy, and of course power. If we're able to take this on within the first 6 months in office, I'm sure so many other things will turn around for the country. That's what I said.
Indeed, and Nigerians are looking forward to that, and especially to the president-elect hitting the ground running from day one, soon as he is inaugurated. Well, on the program tonight, let's quickly bring you some of the stories. The Federal High Court in Abuja has now imposed a fine of 17 million naira on 3 litigants and their lawyer for filing a frivolous suit seeking to stop the inauguration of the president-elect, Bola Tinubu. Justice James Omotosho imposed the fine on Praise Ilemona, Pastor Paul Audu, and Anongu Moses, who jointly instituted the suit, praying for an order to halt the May 29 swearing-in of Bola Tinubu as president. The 3 litigants are jointly to pay the president-elect a sum of 10 million naira and another 5 million naira to the All Progressives Congress, who were part of the 7 defendants in the suit. Earlier today, the Supreme Court dismissed a suit filed by the People's Democratic Party challenging the eligibility of the Bola Tinubu candidacy in the February 25th election. The court held that the appellant failed to show documentary evidence that Kashim Shettima was a candidate for double nomination. Judiciary correspondent Celestine Iria brings us more on that.
The People's Democratic Party contended that the manner the APC and Asiwaju Tinubu nominated Mr. Shettima as vice presidential candidate for the election was in gross breach of the provisions of the Electoral Act. The party had argued that there were evidence to establish that Mr. Shettima was nominated twice, both for the vice presidential position as well as for the Borno Central senatorial seats, an action the PDP maintained was in contravention of the law. Delivering judgment, the Apex Court held that the issue of locus is important. A plaintiff's locus is linked to the court's jurisdiction. A plaintiff must show harm or substantial harm done to him by the action he is complaining about. The appellant relied greatly on Section 245, subsection 14c of the Constitution. This section deprived the appellants of the locus as it bars interference of political parties into the affairs of other political parties. There are exhibits before the court that the fourth respondent withdrew his nomination or candidature for the Senate before accepting the nomination for the Vice President. The fourth respondent did the needful before accepting the nomination of the Vice President in line with Section 31 of the Electoral Act. The determination of pre-election matter has time limits, the 18 days for the trial court to exercise its jurisdiction and the 16 days for the appellate court to exercise its jurisdiction has lapsed. The suit was a waste of judicious time of the court. A cost of 2 million naira was awarded against the plaintiff.
Irrespective of the unlawfulness of what APC did, we are not members of APC and we cannot challenge it. Well, this is the Supreme Court. We can't, like I told them in court, we can't appeal to God. We will stop here. We are bound by their judgment.
The Supreme Court has spoken and spoken very, very loudly. And I think the significance of it is not so much for the judgment, which we ordinarily expected, considering that we believed from day one that this was a frivolous suit. And we have canvassed that in the High Court, in the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court has affirmed that we are right.
The court took her time to explain duties in the judgment by citing an example of 1999 where Atiku Abubakar won the governorship election in Adamawa State but also got nominated as the vice presidential candidate of the PDP to run alongside Olusegun Obasanjo. Mr. Atiku abandoned his governorship ambition to focus on being the vice president. His deputy Buni Haruna wanted to step in to become the governor, where INEC insisted to conduct a fresh election. Today, the justices of the Apex Court posed a question to the PDP asking them what has changed from 1999 to 2023. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
The program is Countdown to May 29. We'll be back after this break with more. Please stay with us.